The primary reasons why the Monaco Grand Prix sucks, especially in the turbo hybrid era, is because the track is narrow and the cars are wide. And until we address these root fundamental causes, the races will always be trash, regardless of how many pit stops the FIA mandates. And obviously, FIA, because of the nature of the organization, their objective is to pretend to look like you are doing something, only suggest decorative solutions that dance around the foundational problem that is actually affecting the sport that we all enjoy. So that's what FIA does. It has been doing that a lot in the recent years. I wonder what organizational change within the organization has prompted FIA to be so inefficient, which is saying something. But anyway, Monaco Grand Prix cannot be fixed until we address the root causes, which is narrow tracks and wider cars. When you say that you want to mandate 2 compulsory pit stops for everyone across the grid, you are giving everybody the same handicap or the same superpower, depending on how you look at it, throughout the race. Alexander Albon said this the best in the post-race interview. He said that instead of backing up the field and getting cheap pit stops once, we had to do it twice. And because they had to do it twice, almost the entire field was lapped twice by the front runners because of all of this back-to-back-up team games. And nothing can fix it until we address the foundational problem of fixing the track or making a regulation change in which we can actually make the cars narrow to promote some racing. If in the name of innovation we cannot make the cars smaller and they will be wider and wider in the future, or at least retain their current width for the foreseeable future, if that's the case, we definitely need to make some changes to the track. All this type of surface level solutions, like adding mandatory pit stops or forcing teams to use a different compound of tires, none of that is going to make a difference. And all of the F1 journalists and especially the race commentators, these dumb morons, they were believing that if there are multiple pit stops, then the teams will not manage their tires even more and they will push more, which will lead to overtaking. They are forgetting that in Monaco it's impossible to overtake. There are no place to overtake. So regardless of how much tires you have left, it doesn't really matter. The 2019 Monaco Grand Prix was a great example. Lewis Hamilton had basically zero tires and Max Verstappen was behind him. If Max Verstappen is behind you and he has significantly fresher tires and your tires are basically dead, you should not be ahead of Max Verstappen in any circumstance. The only reason why Lewis won the 2019 Monaco Grand Prix is because it was Monaco. That's how shit the track is. So until 2031, at least, we will be suffering from one dead race on the calendar. I actually saw a good solution across the internet, which is to run the Monaco Grand Prix in reverse, because this will open up a few corners around the track. Like, for example, the first corner in the current Monaco Grand Prix is actually a smaller corner because of the pit exit, right? So if you run the entire Monaco Grand Prix in reverse, that becomes the last corner and it becomes significantly wider because you don't have to have the pit exit. And then if it is a wider entry into the corner and then there is a DRS zone after that, it can facilitate some overtaking. There can be at least one overtaking opportunity in the entire track. So that's one effective solution, I think, for the Monaco Grand Prix, if you consider the current width of the car and how difficult it is to pass around Monaco. Other solutions, they are just comical solutions. Some people are like, let's install some roller coaster in the middle. If you want to give comical solutions, the best fun solution to make Monaco exciting is to give each of the drivers a drug of their choice. Ritalin, Adderall, cocaine, whatever it is, You ask the drivers which drug they need to sharpen up their focus or increase their bravery or whatever it is. And, hilarity ensues, right? We need to see how the drivers can handle the drugs and the poisons. And also, there are a lot of drugs like Adderall that increases your focus. So we can actually find out how fast you can go around Monte Carlo if you are completely zeroed in with Western medication. So that's a fun way to transform the Monaco Grand Prix. But I don't think until 2031 we will have any kind of exciting race because the FIA will never acknowledge the root causes, which is the fact that the track is shit and the cars are too wide to facilitate any kind of racing in a general sense. So obviously this problem should be here. George Russell came in with another solution, which is any driver can press a button on their steering wheel to release the sprinklers, to turn on the sprinklers around the track to make the track wet. And when it happens, nobody knows. One driver from one team should have a button on their steering wheel, and when they press that button, it should release the sprinklers, and the track will get wet. And when that happens, nobody knows. It's kind of like a fun game. Like that unpredictability is the only thing that can make Monaco Grand Prix fun. And also one more thing, the dumb commentators, they were giving the suggestion to improve this 2 pit stop rule by saying that 1 pit stop should be taken within a certain pit window or whatever, so like certain lap count or whatever. That's also another shit suggestion. Because if, again, you are giving the same handicap or superpower to all of the drivers, if everyone fits on lap 20, then the grid will remain the same. And if you think that the teams won't be able to outsmart the FIA's guideline of mandatory pitting by a certain lap count, then you are stupid. The FIA people are dumb motherfuckers, especially in the recent years with the lack of transparency and people getting fired left, right, and center. They're running out of good, intelligent people who know what they're doing, which is to make the sport more exciting. They're running out of people to do that, and now they only have a bunch of yes men. I wonder what recent organizational change in the FIA has prompted this, but it's just never gonna get fixed. We gotta delete that fucking race, or we have to run it in reverse because that's the easiest solution in my opinion. Or maybe George Russell's sprinkler system, maybe give all of the drivers some type of drug to make things exciting. So thank you for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.